Dear students, welcome to the second session of today's bridge course. I am Dr. B. Purachandra Rao, Department of Chemistry, School of Science, Geetam, Hyderabad. Today we are going to discuss an important and relevant topic of present day situation, that is chemical disinfectants. Stay clean, stay safe, and stay healthy. So next 30 minutes, we are going to discuss about mainly three concepts. One is infection, second is chemistry of cleaning, third is chemical disinfection. So we learn this in terms of their chemical structures, in terms of the mechanism of action, etc. At the end of this talk, we are able to understand the mechanism of cleaning and disinfection, applying the knowledge of chemistry of cleaning to keep ourselves and our surroundings clean and safe. We are also able to analyze the common household cleaning or disinfecting products for the better usage to foster safe and healthy environment. So our topic is chemical disinfectants, and we are able to understand the mechanism and the structure of the chemical disinfectants. Before going into the topic, I would like to ask you a simple question. That is, are we alone? This question has a little insight that as a human being, are we living alone? So the answer is, we are never alone. Let me explain on this. Human body is inhabited by millions of tiny microorganisms. These are called cells. Approximately 100 trillion cells. Approximately 100 trillion cells are present in human body. Most of these are about 70 to 90% of these microorganisms are independent microorganisms. Only 30% are human cells. So the answer for the are we alone is we are not alone. We never are alone, because we are living along with more than double number of the microorganisms within our body. So please let me ask you a simple question. Please look into the cube. If the cube is made of a million smaller cubes, let's consider this is a bigger cube, and this cube is made from a million smaller cubes, and each small cube is also made from a million cells. So please consider this cells is that a mathematical term here. So if it is made from a small cube is made from another million cells, then the whole cube is made of how many cells? Please put your answer in the question A or chat box. So the answer for this is trillion. You are able to see a bigger cube, and it is made of million cells, and each small cell, so each small cube is made from another million cells. Then the whole cube is made of trillion cells. So maybe you could tell like this: million of millions is a trillion. A million of million is trillion. Very good. I'm getting really good responses. And let me ask another question from the same image. If the length of the cube is 1 meter, the length of the cube is 1 meter, then the length of the small cube is how much? That is a micrometer, 10 to the power minus 6 meter. So please tell the other answer also. If the length of the small cube is 1 micron, the length of the cell is 1 picometer. That is 10 to the power minus 12 meters. So human body is made from this many smaller cells. So let me understand, let us understand the relative scale of cell with the other biological structures. You could see here the scale from atoms to tissues. Cells are placed in between, and cells are even smaller, but these are combined together and form tissues, which will in turn form organs. Eventually, they made total organism. Even these cells are smaller. This is made from atoms and molecules. Atoms and molecules. Human cell is made from atoms and molecules, and even cells combined together form tissues, organs, and total organisms. So let us understand the microorganism cell. Microorganism cell is having three composites, three major parts. One is genome material like DNA or RNA material. Second one is capsid protein. Third one is envelope protein. So I'm not going into details of this biology, but we'll see only chemical aspects of this cell. So the structure of nucleic acid is given in the right side top. What is the structure of the nucleic acid? It is a heterocyclic moiety which is attached to a 5-membered sugar moiety. So the other parts of the cell composition of the cell is carbohydrates. You know the carbohydrate structures, these glucose structures, and proteins. What are the proteins? Proteins are the macromolecules of amino acids. We know number of amino acids, right? The third part, maybe cell membrane is made from lipids. Lipids are generally fatty acid molecules. So those may be phospholipids and even carboxylic lipids. Once we understand the cell structure of these microorganisms and even human body, let us see which are good and which are bad. So most of the microorganisms present in a human body are not harmful. Even double number of the microorganisms are present in a body. These are not normally harmful. These don't interfere into regular body functions, cell functions. But these are harmful if they are getting to wrong place or too many number. They increase their number to big extent, then these are harmful. But more harmful germs are coming from outside. So invasion and multiplication of a new microorganisms that are not normally present in our body are really harmful. What they do? They may hijack the cell functions. They may hijack the cell functions. So further, body would respond. Our human cells would respond to that. This leads to hijacking the cell function, so that body get disturbed. So what is this total process? What do you call this? This is called infection. The invasion of microorganisms and multiplication of the microorganisms and the response to these microorganisms from the host tissues, and also the toxins produced from these bad germs is called infection. Simply say invasion and multiplications of new microorganisms that are not normally present in the body are called infection. So how do we react on that? Means how do we protect from these infectious agents? Our immune system is there. So we have very good immune system. Immune system in form of blood cells, in form of T cells and all. Our immune system protect us from these infectious agents. A well-working immune system would kill the invaded microorganisms, also limits their harm. To keep our immune system healthy, the ways to follow is eat healthy food, get plenty of sleep, stay active, be happy, and do service to the other. All this will help to activate the immune system to fight with the bad germs. Even our immune system is always ready to protect us from these microorganisms, bad microorganisms. Sometimes it may fail, but prevention is always better than cure. How to stop these bad guys to enter into our body? By following proper cleaning techniques. What are the cleaning techniques? One is clean, second is disinfect. Let us understand what is cleaning. Cleaning generally removes the germs, dirt, impurities from the surfaces, and it works by using soap and water to remove physically these germs from the surfaces. Cleaning does not necessarily kill the germs, but by removing them, it lowers their numbers and the risk of spreading infection. In the other way, disinfection kills the germs on the surfaces. It works by using chemicals. The examples are bleaching powder. So one should do the cleaning first and disinfect later. See, for effective cleaning, one should clean the surface and then disinfect with the disinfecting agents. So I'm putting a small quiz here. Please check the questions and pick your answer and post them in the chat box. The first question is that, how small is nano? We understand what is micro. In the slide of there the cube is present. So how small is nano? Is it a billionth or millionth or trillionth or none? So I'm getting very good responses, and first question is having answer A, right? Number of people are giving this. So we understand the billionth. So what is the second question? Which one of the following is a suspension of dead or weakened microbes? What is that? Is it vaccine, antibodies, antibiotics, bacteria? So again, the number of answers are option A, that is vaccine. Very good. We are moving to the next slide. So I explain the answers A and A. So let us understand the cleaning, the concept of cleaning or chemistry of cleaning. So cleaning could be done by using soap and water. So let us understand the properties of the soap and water. So please check this chemical structure of the soap. The major constituent of the soap is fatty acid, sodium salt of fatty acid. What is a fatty acid? Fatty acid is a long chain hydrocarbon having at one end carboxylic acid group. So we could see the structure of the soap molecule, stick and ball model of the soap molecule in the top of this slide, right? So you could see the surface tension property of water. Have you ever seen the water waves on the surface? What is the shape of them? You could see them from the top of this surface. So when you add the surfactant molecule to this water, the surface tension of the water would reduce and it is able to reach the all the surface. You could see that in the second surface. Similarly, water has a specific property to form micelles with the surfactant molecules. Surfactant molecules, as we understand that, these have hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. When you add this to water, hydrophilic and try to be towards water molecules. Similarly, hydrophobic ends will arrange themselves to be away from water molecules. So let us understand these properties, how these will help in cleaning the surface, cleaning well. So before going into that, let us see the surface tension property in these two images. See, you could do this at your home even. So a small activity, you take it as a small activity and do this. You take a bowl or cup with water and without disturbing, you place a small object on the surface of the water. Generally, it flows. Why it flows? Surface tension allows this object that would actually sink into the solution, but surface tension would allow this object to flow on the surface. If we add a few drops of surfactant or soap, it reduces the surface tension and cause the floating object to sink. You may see that in the second image, the object is sinking when you add soap to that. So you may understand the cleaning concept by using emulsification concept. So what is emulsification? What is emulsion? It may be water in oil or oil in water. So the process of emulsification involves 4 steps. One is wetting, solubilization, second is solubilization, foaming, and emulsification. See, when you add a detergent molecule to the water, it forms micelles. Micelles will try to entrap the hydrophobic moieties, generally organic moieties, and lift out them. With this interaction, these moieties will wash away from the surface. If you add water, these entrapped micelles will wash out. So this concept is understood for cleaning the surface. Please check this slide. How does soap work on germs? As we understand that detergent molecules or soap molecules will form micelles and remove germs by emulsification. If the dirt particles are having germs, it will be cleaned up. Similarly, detergent molecules would capture the lipid proteins. We have seen this cell structure, microorganism cell structure. The outer layer is amyloid proteins or lipid proteins. These could be captured by the detergent molecules and the cell will be ruptured and the genome moiety or the other cell structure will be disrupted and washed out. So here, germs are washed out even without killing. We'll go to the next concept, that is disinfection. You may see these images and you are daily in the newspapers and even we are seeing this everywhere in this pandemic time. What is this? So using disinfecting agents to clean our environment, right? Our surroundings. So the common chemical disinfectants used are alcohols, phenolic compounds, aldehyde compounds, halogen releasing compounds, peroxidin compounds, and quaternary ammonic compounds. All we studied in our chemistry topics. So let us understand let us understand individual compounds with their structures and their functions. You will see this structure of alcohols. What are the alcohol compounds? Alcohol compounds are hydroxy functional groups attaching to a carbon atom. So the carbon atom may be a primary carbon atom or secondary carbon atom. The well-known alcohols are ethyl alcohol and isopropyl alcohol. What is ethyl alcohol? Please see the stick-and ball model. In this, hydrogen and oxygen are showing this red and white color. The remaining carbon is in black color. This carbon is attached to three other moieties, R1, R2, R3. If R1 and R2 are hydrogen atoms, what type of alcohol is that? That is primary alcohol. If the R1 and R2 are carbon atoms, that is secondary alcohol. These alcohols are used in alcohol-based sanitizers. Every day we are using this alcohol-based sanitizer to remove germs, right? To kill the germs. So this is another type of disinfecting agent, that is phenol compounds. These are also characterized by having this hydroxy functional group, but which is attached to an aromatic hydrocarbon. What is aromatic hydrocarbon? Aromatic hydrocarbons will have sigma bonds as well delocalized pi bonds. So the simplest aromatic hydrocarbon is benzene, and hydroxyl group is attached to the benzene, that becomes phenol. So phenol compounds are well-known disinfecting agents. Even we know them from 19th century. So the well-known other phenol compound is orthophenyl phenol. What is orthophenyl phenol? You will check that in ball and stick model again. So ortho substitution of this hydroxyl group is attached with another phenol group. These phenols are used in surface disinfection. So next category of these disinfectants are formaldehyde aldehyde groups. What are the aldehyde groups? Aldehyde groups are CHO structure containing groups. CHO is carbonyl group attached to a hydrogen atom. So the well-known aldehydes are formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde. Formaldehyde is having formula HCHO and glutaraldehyde is dicarboxylaldehyde. It is having two aldehyde groups and the total carbon chain length is 5. These aldehydes are used in disinfection of medical instruments. So the next important and active halogen releasing active disinfectant are halogen releasing compounds. These are sodium hypochlorite or calcium hypochlorite. Sodium and calcium hypochlorites are the sodium and calcium salts of hypochlorous acid. Hypochlorous acid is very reactive and well-known disinfectant agent. You may see the structures in the right side of the slide. And even iodine is used as disinfecting agent, and this is also used as antiseptic lotion in lower concentrations. The other important disinfecting agent is hydrogen peroxide, peroxy compounds. The well-known peroxy compounds are hydrogen peroxide and peracetic acid. So here, oxygen and oxygen is having a single bond. So when used this oxygen and oxygen bond will break, and nascent oxygen as well a stable molecule like water and acetic acid will be released, and this nascent oxygen would kill the germs and act as a really very good disinfecting agents. These are used in sterilization and antisepsis. The last category of disinfecting agents we are seeing here is quaternary ammonium salts. What is ammonia? Ammonia is having 3 substituents, maybe 3 hydrogens. But if it is attached with 4 substituents, that is ammonium, a positive charge appear on the nitrogen. So if it is the substituents are from the alkyl groups, that is a quaternary ammonium compound. The structure it is shown here is benzalkonium chloride. So nitrogen is substituted with 2 methyl groups, 1 benzene group, and another fatty compound, means a long chain hydrocarbon. So this is benzalkonium chloride. This is used in antiseptic creams. All these listed compounds are well-known disinfecting agents and used for killing the germs. So let us check in the next 2 slides what is the mechanism of this disinfecting agents. Disinfection commonly takes place because of the cell wall corrosion of microorganisms and changes in cell permeability. So these disinfectants will react with the cell structure and it will corrode them, and even they penetrate into the cell structure and disrupt the moieties present in that. So how it will do that? By following these 3 mechanisms. One is cross-linking, coagulating coupling, clumping, cross-linking, coagulating clumping. Second is structure and function disruption. Third is the oxidation. So these reactions would disturb the cell structure and activity of the cell, and which makes the microorganisms no longer to multiply, and even it won't sustain with this disinfecting agents. So let us see the example of hypochlorous acid, how it will react on the cell structure. In the previous slide, we have seen the cell structures. Cell structure is containing the protein moieties, nucleic acid, and carbohydrate. So I'm not going into the detailed mechanism of that. Please see each moiety is fragmented into smaller moieties, and those are no more active as it was before, right? So protein is fragmented into smaller moieties, and even that is not even protein, even not even amino acid. So once hypochlorous acid is reacted with protein, what it will form? It will form chloramines. So even a fragmented moiety of chloramines. Similarly, nucleic acid will disintegrate into smaller moieties. A polysaccharide, which is a lipid molecule, would fragmented into smaller units, and this will be destructed like this. So you may see this in a schematic diagram. As we understand the cell structure of these microorganisms, having 3 moieties. One is genome moiety, which is present inside, and protein moieties, which is surrounding this genome moiety, and an enveloped protein, which is protecting, which is placed around these 2 structures. Capsid protein, which is placed around this capsid protein. So if you use any disinfecting agent, this will disturb or corrode the cell structure by penetrating into inside. So I am giving in this slide the functional groups, their active moieties, and the mechanism of actions. Alcohol, aldehydes, alcohol, phenolic compounds, and quaternary compounds would follow the cross-linking coagulating clumping mechanism to completely destroy this cell. Aldehydes are converting this cell structure into different moieties. So the mechanism it followed is structure and function disruption. So chlorine and peroxygen compounds are oxidized compounds, highly reactive compounds, and this will destroy microorganisms this way. So I'm giving another small quiz here. Please read the question carefully and post the answers in the chat box. The first question is that sunlight is which type of which method of disinfection? Is it little interesting, right? Is it physical or chemical, mechanical or electrical? So there are number of responses are coming. So most of people are keeping the answer physical, few are chemical. The answer is physical, right? The answer is physical. Sunlight is a physical method of disinfection. Very good. And please answer to the second question. Which of the following is suitable for use on tissues? Please answer. Use on tissues are a living material for microbial control. What is that? Sir, antiseptic, disinfectant, sterilant, or water? What is the answer for second? Antiseptic. Very good. So the responses are very good, right? So please explain. We'll check the answers and discuss the answers in detail. So first question answer is A. Sunlight is a natural disinfection. Irradiations by ultraviolet rays promotes the disinfection. So actually it is a natural disinfectant, but a physical nature. So answer is A. Second question answer is antiseptics. Antiseptics and disinfectants are very similar. Please understand, iodine is used as a disinfectant as well antiseptic, but the concentrations are less in antiseptic solutions because antiseptic lotions are used in less concentration on a living tissues to kill the microorganisms, but disinfectants are used on non-living things such as the surfaces of objects. So let us go quickly into next topic, that is what to consider when choosing a disinfectant. What will consider when choosing a disinfectant? There are four primary considerations to evaluate or choosing a disinfectant to meet our requirements. First one is effectiveness. Whatever disinfectant we choose should be effective. Within short time of contact, should be able to kill the germs. And second consideration should be safety. While we are using that means effective disinfectant, it should not harm ourselves. It should not harm ourselves. So it should be safe, and also should use with ease. With easiness, we should use it, and it should be effective. Finally, final consideration is an important consideration all the time. That is availability and cost. The availability of the disinfectant should be there, and also it should be economically cheaper. So these considerations would be taken into account while choosing a disinfectant. So in the next slide, an interesting slide, I'm showing you all our household disinfecting agents listed, range from a hand wash to even a quaternary salt. You'd be surprised that we are using all these type of disinfectants. Please remember, even 20 to 25% of our monthly grocery budget will go into this, right? Even toothpaste, bath soaps, detergents, all come under this category. Cleaning agents. These are cleaning agents as well disinfecting agents. Let us check quickly what are the main ingredients present in this. So first one, bleaching powder. What is bleaching powder? Bleaching powder main constituent is calcium hypochlorite. Calcium hypochlorite is a salt of hypochlorous acid, and it has a slake line as well, calcium chloride and calcium hydroxide. We use Dettol for all the time. We use Dettol, a powerful or well-known disinfectant agent. What is the active ingredient in the main constituent of the Dettol is chloroxylenol. Chloroxylenol. Please understand that. What is that? What is the compound? That is phenol. Xylenol is dimethyl benzene. Xylene is a dimethyl benzene. Xylenol is dimethyl phenol. And chloroxylenol. So another substituent is there. I will show those structures in the next slide. And Lysol, very powerful disinfecting agent, is containing ethanol, isopropyl alcohol, and even phenol compounds like pyrochloro, orthobenzyl phenol, and orthophenyl phenol. So Domex we use every day in our daily life. That is contain sodium hypochlorite, another salt of hypochlorous acid. Harpic. Harpic contains a hydrochloric acid, which is a halogen releasing moieties. Please understood, all these products are having a main constituents either range from alcohol to quaternary salt, but these are not a single product, single mixture, single compounds, but these are a mixture of number of compounds. Those may be another disinfectant. Those are another disinfectants or additives like soap. As we understand it from the starting slides, one should clean the surface first and has to use the disinfectant. So these disinfecting products may contain the soap molecules also. So most of these are having soap and water and even some synthetically prepared quaternary salts which are used as surfactant molecules. So in the next slide, I'm giving a small assignment to you. So here the table is given. We copy this, and here I listed out the common household disinfecting agents and left these other columns blank for filling what is the active functional group present in the main constituent and the main constituent action on the microorganisms and the application of this product in our daily life. Either it is used as surface disinfectant or used as antiseptic or used as what type of application it has. So you please mention this and take this work to segment. I want to share for your reference the chemical structures of the active constituents of these household products. So as I told, the chloroxylenol, you may see the first one, chloroxylenol is the active constituents of the Dettol. Also, second and third are the major constituents of the Lysol. You know the calcium hypochlorite, you know the sodium hypochlorite are the constituents of the bleaching powder and Domex. So the other ingredients are also, the chemical structures also listed here. And here I am listing few glossary, means few typical terms to use in this lecture. And thank you for your attention.